You can run 10 kilometers, feel strong, breathe easily, and still be living with a silent danger inside your chest. That's the unsettling reality many people never consider. How can someone who looks fit and healthy suddenly collapse without warning? The truth is, the human body is incredibly good at adapting. It can quietly compensate for serious problems, masking them until the very last moment. Deep inside the heart, changes can develop slowly over years without causing pain or obvious signs. Blood may continue to flow just well enough to keep you feeling normal, even while risk is building beneath the surface. This creates a dangerous illusion. If you feel fine, you assume everything is fine. But health is not always something you can feel. In many cases, the first visible sign of heart trouble is not discomfort, it is a sudden, life-threatening event. Understanding this hidden process is the first step toward protecting yourself before it's too late. Inside your chest is a powerful engine that never rests, but its survival depends on a delicate network of vessels. The heart needs a constant supply of oxygen-rich blood, delivered through the coronary arteries that wrap around it like roots around a tree. Among these vessels, one stands out for its critical role, the left anterior descending artery, often called the LAD. This artery feeds a large portion of the heart's main pumping chamber, the left ventricle. Because of its size and responsibility, any blockage here can have serious consequences. Think of it like a major highway supplying an entire city. If it suddenly shuts down, everything it supports is affected at once. Unlike smaller branches, where damage may be limited, disruption in this artery can impact the heart's ability to circulate blood effectively. That's why understanding this structure is key to recognizing how hidden problems can become dangerous. What if the real problem doesn't start with a blockage, but with tiny invisible damage over time? Inside a healthy artery, the inner lining is smooth, allowing blood to flow effortlessly. But over the years, everyday factors like high blood pressure, elevated blood sugar, and smoking begin to wear down this delicate surface. Think of it like fine scratches forming on a once perfect pipe. These small injuries may seem harmless, but they trigger a chain reaction inside the body. To repair the damage, the body sends LDL cholesterol to the affected areas, almost like patching material. At the same time, the immune system responds, sending white blood cells to clean up and manage the site. However, instead of fully fixing the problem, these cells absorb the cholesterol and transform into what are known as foam cells. Gradually, this mixture of fat, immune cells, and debris builds up within the artery wall. Over time, layers of this material harden and form what is called plaque. This process, known as atherosclerosis, develops slowly and often without any clear signs. The artery may still function, but beneath the surface, the buildup continues, quietly increasing the risk for future complications. What if your arteries could hide a serious problem while everything still feels completely normal? This is exactly what happens through a process called positive remodeling. As plaque slowly builds up inside the artery wall, instead of narrowing the passage right away, the vessel begins to expand outward. It stretches to make room for the growing deposit, keeping the inner channel open so blood can continue to flow smoothly. Because of this adaptation, a person can remain active, even running long distances, without noticing anything unusual. The heart is still receiving enough oxygen to meet everyday demands, so there are no clear warning signs. This creates a dangerous illusion of perfect health. You may feel strong, energetic, and symptom-free, while significant changes are quietly taking place beneath the surface. The body's ability to compensate is impressive, but it also delays detection. By the time the artery can no longer adjust, the situation may already be advanced. That's why relying only on how you feel is not always a reliable way to judge what's happening inside your heart. What if the real danger isn't how big the buildup is, but how unstable it becomes in a single moment? Inside the artery wall, not all plaques are the same. Some are hard and stable, while others are soft, fragile, and filled with inflammatory material. These softer plaques are often covered by a very thin protective layer, almost like a delicate skin over a blister. Under certain conditions, such as a sudden rise in blood pressure, intense physical stress, or emotional strain, this thin layer can tear. When that happens, the inner contents of the plaque are suddenly exposed to the bloodstream. The body immediately interprets this as an injury. In response, it activates its natural defense system and sends platelets to the site to form a clot, just as it would to stop bleeding from a cut. However, inside a coronary artery, this reaction creates a serious problem. The clot can grow rapidly within minutes, blocking the flow of blood through the vessel. Unlike the slow buildup of plaque, this blockage happens quickly and without much warning. Blood can no longer reach the heart muscle beyond that point, cutting off its oxygen supply. This sudden interruption is what leads to a major cardiac event, turning a previously silent condition into an urgent and life-threatening situation. What if your heart is still getting blood, yet it's not enough when you need it most? This is the hidden danger of a supply and demand imbalance. Even when an artery is only partially narrowed, it may seem harmless during rest. Blood flow is still sufficient for normal activities, so the body feels fine, but the situation changes completely during intense effort. Imagine a dedicated runner pushing through a race. As the heart rate rises, the heart muscle demands a much higher level of oxygen to keep up with the workload. Under normal conditions, the coronary arteries widen to deliver more blood. But if one artery is already partially restricted, it cannot increase flow enough to match the rising demand. The supply falls short, and the heart muscle begins to experience a lack of oxygen, a condition known as ischemia. This mismatch can lead to subtle symptoms like fatigue, dizziness, or discomfort, which are often mistaken for simple exhaustion. Yet beneath the surface, the heart is under strain. It shows that even without a complete blockage, the balance between supply and demand can be disrupted, creating a serious risk during physical stress. What if the warning signs are there, but they don't look the way you expect? Many people imagine heart problems as sudden chest pressure or pain spreading down the arm. While this pattern is more common in men, it is not the full picture. In women, the signals can be much more subtle and easy to overlook. Instead of clear chest discomfort, women may experience unusual fatigue, shortness of breath, nausea, or even a feeling similar to indigestion. These symptoms often appear gradually and may not seem serious at first. Because they don't match the classic image, they are sometimes ignored or mistaken for less urgent issues. This difference matters. When symptoms are less obvious, people may delay seeking help, giving the condition more time to progress. Understanding that the body can send different signals depending on the person is essential. Recognizing these quieter signs can make a critical difference in responding early and protecting heart health. What if your heart has a hidden backup system that only reveals itself over time? When blood flow through a coronary artery is gradually reduced, the body doesn't just sit still. It begins to adapt by forming tiny new vessels around the blockage, creating alternative pathways for blood to reach the heart muscle. This process is known as collateral circulation, often described as the heart building its own detour roads. These natural bypass routes don't appear overnight. They develop slowly, usually over years of mild or progressive narrowing. That's why, in some cases, older individuals may handle a blockage better than younger ones. Their hearts have had more time to build these protective pathways. While not a perfect solution, this backup system can help preserve blood flow and reduce damage when a major artery becomes compromised. Every second matters more than you think when the heart is under threat. The moment blood flow is reduced, the clock starts ticking. Within about 20 minutes, heart muscle cells begin to suffer irreversible damage due to lack of oxygen. As time passes, more tissue is affected, and by around 90 minutes, large areas can turn into scar tissue that no longer functions properly. This is why doctors often say, time is muscle. The longer the delay, the more heart muscle is lost. In view, early recognition and rapid response can make a critical difference, preserving heart function and improving recovery. Even small delays can change the outcome, which is why understanding the urgency of these moments is so important. What if the most powerful way to protect your heart is to look for problems before they ever show symptoms? Waiting until something feels wrong is often too late. Today, there are tools that can reveal hidden risks early. A coronary artery calcium (CAC) scan can detect hardened plaque, giving a clear picture of long-term buildup. A CT angiogram goes even further, showing softer, unstable plaques that are not visible through standard tests. These methods provide insight that blood tests alone cannot offer. But technology is only part of the solution. Daily habits play a major role in protecting your arteries. Keeping blood pressure and blood sugar under control, staying physically active, and avoiding harmful habits all help reduce ongoing damage to vessel walls. The key message is simple. Don't assume you are healthy based only on how you feel. Take action, use the tools available, and understand your heart before problems have a chance to develop.